Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Joe Barber. Today is the 20th, I want to say the 20th of April 2022. And it's about 9:50. I'm on my way to the barber shop. Got a lot of great news. School's about to be open, man. I'm getting I got approved already. I have to send in my floor plan. I have to send in my surety bond. Make sure that I submit all the paper. It's just a bunch of paperwork that they need, corresponding with them and all that. So it's a glorious day. So I'm, a few steps closer to making this dream become a reality. And I was just praying and meditating on my way to work, where I'm just focusing on God and showing so much gratitude for what I do have in my life. And I really wanted to be transparent with God, and because a lot of us have to go through a lot of trials and tribulations, man, because you have to learn these lessons, and they're very valuable lessons, man, and there's no getting around it. And that's something that I want to talk to you about. Is just like, when lessons come in your life, they're coming to teach you something very valuable that money can't teach you that, and feeling like good all the time, and it just, oh man, I have this wonderful life and everything goes smooth. You're not going to learn the valuable lessons in life and elevate yourself to the next level. And that's where I feel that God has done that with me. I've elevated myself to the next level, where I detach my emotions from circumstances, and I continue to worship God. I continue to trust God. I continue to show gratitude even in the face of adversity, even when it looks like, man, God, I don't, and perfect example, I'm gonna just story time. I have my dogs. They're two pit bulls. One of them I bought for a little under $1,000, and the other one was valued like, he has some specific bloodline. He's a beautiful dog. Everybody loves him. He's a beautiful dog, big old head, weighs about 100 and something pounds. He's a great dog. But these knuckleheads got out of my yard about 4 times. They pushed through my chain link fence, which intersects with a wooden fence. And, I've been going through a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of just trying to maintain. When you're a business owner, you're wearing a lot of hats. And you got your personal problems, your home responsibilities, buying groceries, keeping the house clean, paying bills, all that kind of stuff, keeping everything clean. Then you got the barbershop, paying those bills, and the same responsibilities, keeping everything clean. And then you're dealing with people. Not everybody is on the same page. Not everybody values the shop, the opportunity. And you have to kind of micromanage, depending on how many barbers you have. You have to deal with them accordingly, because everybody has a different mindset. Everybody has a different, they're in a different place in life. So they don't value things, or they're young, or they have their own, issues with their wife or husband or whatever. So you're dealing with all that. And then you're, not only that, if you're a barber as well, you're dealing with your clientele. And me, which is a blessing, I stay busy every day that I work. And I'm grateful for that. But because I'm always busy cutting my clients, I don't have the ability, or, the luxury of managing the shop and managing circumstances and managing all. So that's all the stress I'm dealing with. And then you got your personal life. Are you working out? Are you reading? Are you meditating? You're dealing with, whether you're a father, whether you're, husband, whatever, you're dealing with that as well. So it's not always, clear cut, you know what I'm saying? So you always have a lot of things. When you're a owner, you still have to maintain the rest of your responsibilities. So anyways, back to the dogs. My dogs got out of the fence. This was the 5th time they got out. I've been so overwhelmed with everything around me that I got to a point, I was driving around. The dogs got out like at 7:30 in the morning. I was driving around for 2 hours, and I took my son to school late. I went back after I dropped my son off, and I went to go look one more time, and I had to come to work because it was like right before Easter. So my schedule was packed, like back to back, no lunch, Thursday and Friday, because I was off Saturday. I was supposed to go do community service at this basketball thing, and that's why my Saturday was clear. But I ended up not going to do that. I went to go look for my dogs. But the point I'm trying to get to is that I've been so overwhelmed with dealing with my emotions and people, and trying to help people, and dealing with some people that are just disrespectful, or they don't appreciate, there's a lot of things that go on emotionally, right? So I got to a point where I was like, you know what, man, these dogs left, and I couldn't even be sad. As much as I love my dogs, I couldn't be sad. I said, you know what, man, I'm not gonna be sad, because I have no control over that situation. There's nothing that I can do, and I didn't want to carry that energy with me here at the barbershop. And I'm always big about that. When you're working as a barber, you want to come in with high energy. You want to come in with professionalism, regardless of the madness that's happening outside of the shop, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your relationship with your children, whether it's, you're dealing with sickness outside of the shop, like your family and all that. It's very, very hard, but you have to learn this and how to kind of like turn it off. Because what you're going to end up doing is, if you're vibrating at a low frequency and you're feeling sad and you're processing things, which is normal. But if you do that and then you have your clients and you're pouring that energy into them, that's not good business, man. And that's not good. You don't want to spread that illness. And that's what I call it, is an illness, because you feel sick, you feel like weak, you feel down. But mentally, you can get around that. You have to kind of like, all right, Joe, when you get in through those doors, nothing else matters. You got to stay happy, and you got to focus on the silver lining, focus on what is good in your life, focus on being able to walk, being able to talk, being able to breathe, being able to, have fingers, being able to, think, being able to speak, whatever it is. I focus on all the little things that gives me gratitude and uplifts me. And that's how I pull myself out of stuff. But that day when my dogs got out and I gave up. I literally gave up, and I said, you know what, man? If this is meant to happen, then it's meant to happen, God. And if it's meant for them to come back, you'll find a way to get them back to me. And that's all I can say. So I worked Thursday, I worked Friday. Friday night, I was looking through Facebook, looking through this Paw Alert, looking through the neighborhood app. And somehow, some way, someone had posted a picture of my dog, Odin. And I was like, yo, that's my dog. So then I, messaged them. I sent them pictures to verify I'm the owner. Then they told me like, well, yeah, he's over here in this area, which was, man, it was like, I want to tell you that it was like about half a mile away from my house for sure. They were pretty far. But I went to go look, didn't find them. The next day I woke up, and which was Saturday. I said, you know what, man, I have this, my intuition is telling me like, go look for him. He's there. So I told my son, hey, let's go. Got in the truck, went looking for him. As soon as we pull up to the intersection, there's a gentleman there in his truck, and he has my dog in the back seat. And he waves at me, and I wave, and I pull up. He's like, you're looking for something? I said, I'm looking for my dog. And then when I said that, Odin sticks his head out, and I was like, Odin. And, he got all excited, and I hugged the guy, and, kind of released some of my emotion that moment. But I got my dog back. And then I had posted on Paw Alert, and I paid, whatever, the $40, $50 to put an ad, to, share pictures of my dog. And then the lady called me, and she's like, I think I have your dog. So then I called her, and I told her the markings that he had and blah, blah, blah. And she had them. So then I went and grabbed him. So I got my dogs back. It was like a miracle. To some people, it may not be that big of a deal, but not everybody gets their dogs back, man. And especially when you have like, some people value dogs. Like, to me, dogs are dogs. They're all valuable to me. Just if you're a mutt, if you're full bred, whatever, man. But when people look at my dogs, they're like, yeah, man, you can breed those dogs and you can make money. And I don't look at my dogs like that, because my dogs are like my best friends. They're like my kids, and I love my dogs. But I fixed the area in the back of the fence, and I'm going to hire somebody to redo the whole fence. It's going to be, we need to do that anyway. But the moral of the story is that regardless you got to trust God. In your life, you got to trust God. And you go through these trials, and sometimes God's going to test you to test your faith. And my faith is that you know what, God, if it's meant for me to have it, I'll have it. It'll come back to me. And if it's not, then I got to learn to let things go, because even in relationships, we smother people because we don't want to lose them. And sometimes you got to let go and be like, you know what, man, you have to choose them. They have to choose you. And that's when it's meant to be. And that's a choice that you have to make every day. And it's hard, man. But the lesson I want y'all to learn is that you have to have enough faith in yourself, enough faith in God, that he's going to provide. And God's provided for me beyond measures. I'll tell you right now, it's been this year for sure has been a roller coaster ride. The last 2-3 years, all of us have been struggling with, COVID and all that. But I'm telling you, like, I've learned so much about myself. I've dealt with a lot of my trauma growing up that I've never gone head on with things. I usually tuck it in and, oh man, and then my ego takes over. Then, my pride, all these things take over, and it becomes a problem. So hopefully this message reaches somebody that needed to hear it. I want to tell you that, man, just maintain and don't be afraid of the lessons. Like, learn the lessons that God's trying to teach you, because all it's going to do is elevate you and prepare you, because God is not going to bless a mess, man. God is going to, sometimes we go through the same problem. We date the same person. They're just in a different body. I promise you, it's a weird, analogy, right? But sometimes we have the same problems. I promise you, like, I'll be transparent with you. Owning my barbershop, I swear that I've had the same barbers, just in different bodies. Like, they all have the same problems, where it's either they have too many kids, or they, trying to sell drugs or do drugs, or, do these whatever and have those problems, or they don't take life serious, like, and they just waste time, or they're still growing up in some different areas and they want the barbershop to be really, really busy, but they don't want to commit to it. They don't want to invest in it. They just want it to happen. There's all these, different, characters that I want to say that I dealt with. And it's just, I have 2 barbers that have been with me through the whole process. I've hired over 30 barbers that have worked for me, maybe more. But that's the thing. I've learned lessons about myself and how I deal with people and how I deal with my emotions and how I detach, because there has to be growth. And when I say growth, I mean spiritually, mentally, physically. You have to have that growth of knowing what power you have, how you can work on yourself to be a better owner, a better manager, a better barber. I'm getting really close to the point where I get to retire from cutting hair. I'm still gonna cut some of my clients because they won't let me retire all the way. But my thing is, I've been cutting hair for a living well over 20 years. I've been making money off of cutting hair for well over 20 years, and day in, day out. And it's so bad, not in a bad way, entirely, but it's so bad when I'm not at the barbershop, I feel like something's wrong. Like, like I can't even enjoy like days off. It's that bad, but I'm ready to open my school. I'm going to move my barbershop. So I'm doing my thing. The finances is not a problem. God has blessed me. That's not the problem. It's getting everything done with the state. And I'm very grateful. Like I said, maintain your gratitude, count your blessings, because life is short, man. And every day is a day of opportunity. Every day is a day of choices. And you can choose whether, you know what, man, today's the day that I'm going to just trust God, surrender myself to God, and fulfill my purpose. And that's a conversation that you need to have with God. I can't give it to you. Your pastor can't give it to you. Nobody. God will put people in your life so you can be led and guided. Like, people will guide you. But at the end of the day, you need to start your day with God and end your day with God. And be consistent about it and hold yourself accountable. Because I can be here and tell you like, oh man, my dad wasn't there. He was a drug dealer. He was a gangbanger. He was this. My mom was an alcoholic. My mom was this. She got married, whatever times and left us alone. And I had kids at a young age. And, I grew up in a band. I could use all these reasons to hate the world and to make excuses for why I am the way I am, in a negative way. I'm not doing that. No longer. Those generational curses, they all ended with me. That's not being passed on to my children at all. My ability to show compassion and to show empathy comes from the fact that I went through a lot of trials and tribulations in my life. So that's why I feel the way I feel towards people. People do not know their potential. People do not know that there's a better way. People do not know that you can accomplish anything you want to do. You know why? Because it's hard work. It's hard work, man. And you got to start with yourself. But the main thing that I can tell you is that you got to love yourself and respect yourself enough to know that God created you for a purpose. And when you realize that, it changes everything. Everything changes. You no longer have to submit yourself to or surrender yourself to music, talking about, all the negativity and being a womanizer, being a thought or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't listen to a lot of the music. I'm sorry about the terminology, but I'm saying like you don't have to be that, man. You can be glorified by God and used by God. And I listen to a lot of Christian music. I've been blessed to be able to, do work with Andy Mineo, to do work with Lecrae, you know what I'm saying? And those are my guys. And I love going to their concerts. I love listening to their music. A lot of their new music is not as impactful as the old music, but it's because they've evolved and they've gone through circumstances as well. But I still admire them and I still listen to their music. And there's other Christian rappers, Bizzle, Seven, even Lucky Luciano is turning Christian now. There's other Christian rappers, and that doesn't mean Christian. It has to be Christian. It's just, I'm talking about positive, influential people. Doesn't have to be Christianity, doesn't have to be Catholic, doesn't have to be anything like that. I'm non-denominational. I submit and surrender myself to the Almighty God, the creator of all, Yahweh. And that's who I surrender myself to. And that's one of the major things. And if you don't believe in God, great, man. That's cool. I pray for you. And if you don't need prayer, that's on you. But I'm just saying, man, like, we're all here for a purpose. And whether you want to call him God, whether you want to call him the universe, the creator, the whatever, you that's on you. And I hope that you find a way to understand, because God's gonna reveal himself in different ways to pull you in, whatever it takes to pull you in, because we're all here for a purpose, man. And I don't want to veer off the topic, but I really want people to understand that in life we all have a choice, and every day you can choose to be happy, you can choose to be sad. People are gonna let you down, people will hurt you, and people are gonna use you, and that's inevitable. How you respond to it, that's your power. How you respond to it is your power. Okay, but be prepared to be hurt by people, because people are broken already. They don't know how to love themselves. They don't know what love is. So until they understand that, they're going to continue to hurt other people. So that's not your job. Your job is not to fix people. Your job is to be the light so people can have hope, because we're living in a hopeless society. People are giving up on kids. People are giving up on, a lot of people. We're giving up on people because they're broken. And like I said, it's not our job to fix them, but it's our job to be that light and be like, you know what, man? I grew up in the projects. I had kids at a young age. I got in trouble. I did this, I did that. But you know what? God saved me from that. You know what I'm saying? I surrendered to God. He forgave me. I've been forgiven for everything. And now I'm new. So now I'm pushing, and now I have to use my story to make sure that y'all understand that, you know what, man, there's something better out there. And it doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. You got to finish the race. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this touched somebody, and hopefully somebody heard this message, man. So y'all stay blessed and y'all stay faded.